What's up, class? I'm your teacher, Don Kavi, a serial entrepreneur and host of this channel where we talk about all things entrepreneurship and making your passion your life. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of how I bought my first rental property. It was a house hack where I could live for free. If you're hoping to do this in your future, pay attention. I'm going to be giving some great tips. But first, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be the first to know when the new video arrives. Let's get into it. Rental property, passive income, house hacks. You've probably heard these terms thrown around as they're now trending. There's a million gurus out there telling you to pursue these ideas and why they're so great for your future, but they leave out real examples and details of how to actually do it. That's why I'm making this video, to tell you the story of how I successfully pulled off a house hack during the red-hot real estate market of 2018. In my situation, I was looking for a property that I could live in for free by the rents collected from the other units, with the idea of eventually moving out to rent the entire place. My hope was to find something within 20 minutes of my work, and it'd likely be a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. There are a lot of great tools for searching for investment properties, but my favorite was Dino Realty's website. Basically, you go where you want to be on the map, and you put in a maximum price and the property, which is going to be multifamily. I was looking in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. There were a lot of multifamilies for sale, but not too many where the numbers made sense. What I mean is, if you rented out all the units, would that cover the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance? You can find this number by calculating it with a mortgage broker or with a mortgage calculator. I met with a mortgage broker and they gave me the exact numbers and several types of loans that I qualified for. This gave me confidence. When I was looking at properties, I would know if they would cash flow or not. I picked my top 5 and set out to look at them with my real estate agent. As I started seeing them in person, I realized there are a lot of talented photographers out there. The properties looked better online than they did in person. I spent weekends looking at these 5 properties, which turned into 10, then 20 properties. It's really hard to find a diamond in the rough in a hot real estate market. In this situation, what does an entrepreneur do? A good entrepreneur is flexible and open to creative thinking to achieving their goals. So what I did is expanded my search by the area and by the type of property. I started looking 30 minutes away, and I found a former telephone company's office with an apartment below. It was a very nice all-brick constructed building. It currently had 2 commercial tenants up top and 1 residential tenant below. One of the commercial tenants was about to leave the month I was about to purchase. What I did was look at the rents in the area and come up with what I thought would be a baseline of rents if I changed the office to an apartment. So the building would have 2 apartments and 1 office. If the 3 units were fully rented out, that would be $2,750 in rent. If the current second office and what would become my apartment was vacant, there would be $1,750 in rent. The mortgage, taxes, and insurance were $1,175 in rent. There was one more expense to consider too. The downside of this building is that all the utilities were together. That means the owner has to pay the water, electric, and gas. The bill would range between $200 and $300 per month. When doing the math, this building looked like it would fit my goals. It wasn't in the original search area nor the type of building, but the cash flow was great. I dove in with a full price offer to close immediately. I paid $180,000 and I only had guesstimates on how much it would be to convert the office unit into an apartment. After getting the building, I set out to add a new bathroom in my soon-to-be apartment. It was a much more expensive and longer process than I imagined. Finding a good plumber is very difficult, and it turned out the building had concrete floor panels which you have to x-ray before drilling through. I personally did as much legally work as possible, and I hired professionals when I needed building permits. It took me 3 months to complete the construction, but it was a beautiful apartment. It cost $20,000, which brought my entire investment to $200,000. I lived in that apartment for 1 year and then rented it out for the exact amount I imagined for it. For $200,000, I was able to buy a property that brings in $2,750 a month in rents, and it approximately has $1,400 to $1,500 a month in expenses. That's a great cash flow and a pretty cool house hack for your first rental property. If you're trying to buy your first rental property or house hack, take my story as an example. It's easy to get down and think that there's nothing available in the market, but that's when true entrepreneurs persevere and start thinking outside the box. If I wouldn't have been flexible to drive a little bit longer or purchase a building that looks like a bank, I would never have gotten my property. But now I have a piece of property that cash flows extremely well and will be part of my long-term investment portfolio. Another key takeaway from this story is that especially when you're first starting out, it makes sense to look at how much money the property will make on day one. Buying real estate on speculation that it's going to rise in value is risky. This property had 3 units rented out and 1 being vacated. On day 1, it was still profitable. All I had to do was improve it by putting in a little money and elbow grease. And yes, it has appreciated too, probably about $50,000 since I bought it. So what are you waiting for? It's time to get working on finding that rental property and writing the plan to get working on whatever you're passionate about in life. Check out my other videos with more information about entrepreneurship and making your passion your life. I'll see you in the next vid. Ciao!